Platonian law on entanglement will always reach you back. You are attuned to its frequency. A word would carry the frequency of objects, but our instinct and ego and body protects us from becoming them. But we still join their ranks if we open our ego to it. That is manifestation. Quantum entanglement. Narrativize or be compelled to go through something for your surface you, your ego, to comprehend something the subconscious received. Why does it know? A quantum entanglement. Rather than a synchronous thought as described in many pictures, I believe there's a sender and a receiver. Why not? It makes more sense than not. Although you can accidentally send and accidentally receive, depending on your ego being closed to not send or your ego being open to send and receive. Live streamers are a great way to practice. They are usually open to their audience's ideas.
Maybe there is reincarnation.
Their audience. This is logos. You may call it the Platonian handshake. While the symbol, your favorite food, is something different for everyone, it still has the same frequency. This is the logos, divine word, direction. How come I witness all entanglements I sent? How come all those whose egos fulfill my entanglements in one way or another best they can? The constellations entanglements, the kind of twists and turns they do to confirm or reach me back. Well, it makes perfect sense. The superintelligence impulse, those whoever picks up on them knows how I get them, and that's their wish. A streamer's wish, a good viewer. A scholar's wish, a good take. And the second way to explain why entanglements always reach you back is because you tapped into the frequency. And for example, gold would be with Steiner's spiritual worldview, which I made, that everything is conscious on the scale of focus to dispersion, where humans are in the middle, although some ethnicities are more ordered, some more chaotic. Combine that with Jungian ideas of a collective unconscious, and gold's collective unconscious would be the scientific specifications all goals on the world agree upon. The way the gold moves, through earth and gravity, or human hands. That said, is it all gold that agrees on it, or all humans that agree on its essence? Remember those weird global chemistry crystallizations. In manifesting, more important than the object is your relation to it. Who knows if they know the truth? And when I wrote it out like this, it's been simple to me because I did it so often. But in some cases people also form how we meet. They aren't just processing power, are they? Now we get into the ethical dilemmas of manifestation. But not now. I'll only answer this one. No, for them it's 100 times easier. Things so easy you don't even remember might be things that have tremendously helped someone. That's manifestation. Most people give away their free time too. If you don't want to, get some ego. Max Stirner was right. Free time aside, manifestations that complete themselves through entanglement often take a constellation where wishes of every star are fulfilled. To show something to a streamer, to have a viewer, or to make reincarnation casually believed in. Quantum Orchestra. There's so much life. A collective unconscious in the people who watch things like you do can make you anticipate videos that will be recommended to you. So there's also these broad psychic nets of tribe-like communication. Platonism and Buddhism have very similar final lessons. I like to think that it's not because they entangled with each other, but because they were both correct. Part 1 to Part 2. Indian reincarnation, decadence, and heaven as a solution. The Indian reincarnation decadence should be obvious. Indians can reincarnate. If you could reincarnate and your life kinda sucked, what would you do? You'd wait until you get a better reincarnation. Karma has also absolutely lost its meaning and reputation. Do stupid stuff and you will be met with stupid stuff. Of course, it's troublesome to constellate religion's lesson. From a strategic perspective, karma being both a non-afterlife benefit as well as afterlife benefit. Well, karma was originally about chain reactions you'd cause that hurt you. Throw trash out the window, and you get karma of living in trash. The good side was being at peace and detached from suffering, so escape of the karmic cycles It's less about letting bad people do their stuff, but aligning with consequences unenlightened people forget. In the scenario of revenge, you'd not avenge, but you complete the killer's karmic cycle of being met with revenge. Chop wood, enlighten, chop wood. Dalai Lama talking about killing a mosquito. Don't help poor or obese people. It prolongs their suffering, although that is also their karma. So you can help them. There can also be good beggars anyways. This is acting on karma but based. Now in decadence, it's identitarian slave moral, the Indian caste system, and premise of reincarnation is upholding this. Reincarnation becomes meaningless. It's the same as just roles naturally given to people. In India even more through the caste system. I think Buddha was wrong that everyone reincarnates. It's mostly archetypes and identitarian roles people take and get funneled into. I'll stay open to other constellate options though. These ancient systems were more physics than literal meanings, and so very holistic. With how much was undiscovered and unspecified, they laid out metaphors which are physics. What's reincarnation but your metabolism, for example? That's what I mean with constellations. Old systems are holistic and right hemisphere. Modern Kali Yuga systems are left hemisphere, so detailed and detached from each other, not nicely, beautifully summed up like karma or dharma. Heaven is not only afterlife. It's a belief and rituals in other worlds, like math simulations we can run in our heads, 1 + 1, Akashic records. Heaven as a belief esoterically evolves into blooming collective consciousnesses about topics. These are kind of similar to egregores, except more divine and malleable. They are made by thoughts caused by seeking knowledge brazenly, rather than thoughts caused by a frequency to grow and self-perpetuate. That's a new guess. Faust and Odin are karma on steroids. Faust of Faustian bargains, and Odinic sacrificing yourself for yourself. Same with Christianity's asceticism and repentance. Asceticism is accepting poor states, and by that neurons that hurt are more allowed. This way heaven is more accessible, and a hell might also be created. Repentance is giving pain a path so it doesn't take its own. Escaping karma is being calm and comfortable no matter what. This is why it helps you in heaven. The sympathy, the empathy that hold you up, the subject holding neurons of you wouldn't want these to vanish, because these neurons of you are comfortable. If you are bad during life, the memory of you is uncomfortable. Therefore your heaven will be short-lived, or it'll be hell, because your memory is intrusive anyways to the person's well-being. Anyways, this was supposed to be 1 about evolutionary reasons for reincarnation and heaven, 2 about Indian reincarnation, decadence and heaven as a solution. 1. Enough knowledge and practice and influence you had to be deemed worthy by evolution to keep that knowledge and presence with your tribe. This is way simpler and easier to achieve than it sounds, by the way. My first theory is that heaven is held up by the living, with their brains through entanglements and empathy-sympathy. Sympathy is just empathy except shut out of you with the ego. Theory 2 is that consciousness can be in stuff like quantum smoke. Theory 3 is that aliens build machines that make it possible. It's about the processing power needed. I've seen hive mind people, you can too in old couples. Or also recycling. Or if quantums are bound not by an egoistic type body, they couldn't vanish after death, but just keep occupying what's closest. Basically the reverse. It would take more energy to kill these two, under the theory that there's an evolved kill switch to benefit the tribe for individuality. I mean, nature loves what's between individuality and collective, chaos and focus. There is a concept in physics, I think Chaos Edge fighter planes are purposely built to be aerodynamically unstable, because there's a certain border where they actually gain an advantage and can maneuver better. The worst of heaven is better than the worst of reincarnation. The worst of reincarnation is you give up and wait until you reincarnate into a better body. Your society loses individuality. You get lazy waiting for the best reincarnation. Everyone does, and so everyone degrades. It's easier to reincarnate into familiar environments, so everyone unconsciously becomes more similar, already being united in their wait for a better life and laziness. Karmic cycles still work as outside morals, but there's no Faustian spirit, when Indians aren't expected to escape the cycle anytime soon. A better life or escape, neither are like reaching and manipulating a plato astral plane. Indian reincarnation decadence shows itself at the beginning of the Kali Yuga. Distinct from Europe's Enlightenment period, the concept of heaven and hell let them harness the Kali Yuga, with an attitude of let's make heaven on earth. Where India only had reincarnation and caste system, they didn't take the astrological boost, held onto spirituality, which the Kali Yuga material age undermines, and their behavior and form today still shows this. Just look at an Indian. Why? The worst of heaven is that you want to join your dead family in heaven. And while that's pretty bad, I mean you keep suffering, you still hold up heaven. Heaven keeps experience less worth than individuality. Reincarnation keeps skill worth more than individuality. These are obvious evolutionary reasons, since we are also kids so long because a 1-year-old in an adult's body would die. Nature likes experience. Here's a clue I haven't figured out. In the Bible, it says some people used to live 700 years. The new theory of how reincarnation works. You send your will, a frequency per quantum, to an egoless baby. At age 3 to 11, the frequency you send to this baby will seek its counterpart, and it will download from the collective unconscious the memories of your past life. You will be just as conscious, since it's literally your will, or perhaps consciousness. So reincarnation for the ego is just an ego death. I mean, we are all talking egos here, so we can just say what's on everyone's mind. You're pathetically concerned about keeping your consciousness. You only care about yourself as an ego, but that's your job. Ego world, spirit world, symbol world. This is my first theory of how reincarnation works. It's pretty good. So yes, it does say that the memories in your next life would actually be vivid interpretations where it's you in the main seat of other people having witnessed your fate. This is the first theory. The second theory is that memories are literally saved in quantum and just floating around in the air, I guess. The quantum's looking for a place to bind. It's not reincarnation while you are still alive. That's cloning, spiritually, like old couples. Repetition penetrates the ego too, eventually. But in reincarnation you also have to get the quantum entangling down. It alone doesn't seem to clone. Of course, in reincarnation you can't just repeat your essence to an egoless baby. You'll be dead. So Platonian technique open will work better for both subjects. Open and close are manifestation tools. That's reincarnation. It's the ultimate way. An entanglement always reaches you back. Final message, although it's early. We are exiting the Kali Yuga and demons are slowly starting to prepare and recognize this. So for whomever early adapters watching this, I ask you, don't think about dead people as gone. It may be hard. I saw an atheist boomer glimpse this meaning and almost break from years of nihilist atheism. Open your ego to the idea that they are in an afterlife. Advice for hell comes later. Or don't if they are rude and it only hurt them. Though either way, they might be in an astral quadrant. Still, for like-minded people, rather safe than sorry regarding my first theory and the energy needed. Help along and you'll be able to choose between actual death and an afterlife, astral afterlife being a prerequisite for reincarnation. If Buddha was right, second theory, that everyone reincarnates, it'd mean that everyone enters afterlife too, involuntarily also. It'd mean that atheists are in the afterlife but assume they are dead, so kinda like sleeping vegetables. Again, I don't know whether they are also dead because they professed their atheism in life, first theory, or that they are dead because their consciousness-frequency in quantum communication makes-made them, second theory. In the first theory, they might not even be in an afterlife. Both could be true at once, also supporting each other. You wouldn't want to be alone in heaven. Pray for safety of your loved ones in heaven, for example. You'd want it too. Follow my definition of heaven tags as extra motivation to do glorious, iconic and memorable deeds. Heaven tags.